Hello and welcome. I'm just back home from a fun weekend in Knoxville, Tennessee for a regional event for the Microsoft Excel Collegiate Challenge, which reminds me because a number of people asked me, posted another video of a walkthrough of one of these cases a couple of days ago, and a lot of people asked me, where can I get this? So I didn't mention it at that time, but if you go to mecc.college, that's the website for the Microsoft Excel Collegiate Challenge, you can sign up over here. And you don't need to be a student to sign up. You need to be a university student to be eligible for the prizes and the trips to Vegas and all that other fun stuff. But you can sign up as anybody if you just want to have access to the cases. There's lots of interesting educational stuff. There's fun esports cases. There's also more sort of financial oriented things. There's a good mix of things. So if you're interested, or just if you want stuff to practice on and you don't have the budget to buy a bunch of FMWC pass cases, then this is a good option for you. This is the event this weekend. Excel on Rocky Top was a regional team competition. The University of Tennessee at Knoxville was hosting, and then like a bunch of universities from all the kind of, I guess, southeastern states came along to take part. And this case was the final of the team competition. It's called cornhole, and it is based on the game cornhole, which you toss little bean bags into the board. You try to get them in the hole. I realize I don't want the answers showing, so I'll put those away. So yeah, this was designed to be solved by a team, so there's a bit of a split. There's like a few levels that are to do with people buying tickets to your cornhole event, and buying various different items and what they cost, and then getting discounts for buying early, and then getting packages that make them cheaper, and then other things like that. And then starting from question 5, it's a totally different set of questions about scoring a cornhole game. So it's the points you get for getting in the hole, getting on the board, and getting a miss. And then it's a 2-player version of that, and then it's actually scoring based on where things land on this board here, and then a kind of 2-player version of that as well. So that's the case. I don't think there's anything else to say, so I'm gonna hit start on my timer and dive on in. The bonuses are linked to the levels, so I'll come back to those later. So let's start here. What is the total cost of all items purchased? So you just get a list of items and you get a lookup table for the items. So I'm just going to name this so I can use it later. I'll call it item. No. What? Why are there a bunch of names here? Okay, I'm going to get rid of all those, I think. And then I'm going to attempt to spell the word item correctly. And then I'll call this cost. So I'll start off in a cell over here just for to be able to see it all spill out. So first we're going to text split with a delimiter of semicolon space, and that'll list them all out. And then we can look each of those up in item returning from cost. That gives us each of the things, and then we can sum that up. And then once we've got it all down to one thing, if it was a slightly bigger, more complicated formula, I would do a let to kind of give me this as one variable, and then the lookup is another variable, and then the sum's a third. This one is simple enough, at least for my tastes, that I'm happy to do it as one, and I still find this reasonably easy to read. But if you don't, I'm going to be doing a bunch of things with lets later. You might want to try that as well to make it easier to read. So level 2, what's the total cost of all items purchased after applying the early bird discount? So again, I'm just going to give this name. I'm going to call this ddate for discount date, and I'm going to call this disc for discount. And then I'm just going to copy this formula down, because that'll give me, if I repoint it over here, that'll give me the cost of these items. And then I just need to figure out the discount from here. So I'm going to multiply that by 1 minus whatever the discount is, and that's going to be XLOOKUP. So what does it say? It is all items receive the maximum discount if purchased on or before the discount dates. So in other words, anything before the end of January gets a 30%, before the end of February 20%, before the 15th of March 10%, and before the 1st of April 5%. So if it's after the 1st of April, it's going to be 0. So we're going to look up the date in ddate, returning from disk, and if not found, it's going to be 0. And then it's not right, you say. I was hoping it would be right. All right, so let's go put it up here because we have the example details to kind of walk through. Actually, let's just put it here and then point it up to the example just so I can leave the actual answer there for reference. So let's just step through. Oh, is it? Yeah, no, these are where the numbers are. So let's just see if we step through. Sum of all the item costs is 225, and that is what it's supposed to be, because 329 is on or before 41, so the entire purchase is discounted 5. Oh, I'm sorry. I know what I did. I need to do a range lookup, not a flat lookup. So I need exact match or next larger item. So so this is saying it's not a match because the 1st of January is not in the date table, but I only want it to not match if it's after the last date in the date table. If it's anything earlier than a given date, I want it to roll forward, and that is what exact match or next larger item does. Okay, good. Bit of a wobble there, but nothing too serious. We can recover. Okay, so level 3. What is the total cost of all items purchased after applicable early bird and package discounts? So here we have the concept of a package. There are various things that you can buy together that will cost less than if you buy them separately. Now, I'll be honest, when I first looked at this question, I thought it was going to be super hard because the general case where there are just lots of different things that can be put into packages, this could get really hairy. But as it turns out, if you look at these, there's no item that's in multiple packages. And so either you can make a package or you can't, but there's never like, well, I could make this package or I could make this package. There could be trade-offs. There's nothing like that. So the way I'm going to do this is, oh, and sorry, the one other thing to point out here, I actually tripped up on this question when I first did it, because I went to sort of systematically tag items to packages by saying, basically do a wildcard lookup for, if, like back to my item table here, if a package contains GA ticket, then tag it with that package name. If it contains reserve ticket, then tag it with that package name. But that led me astray because some of these are contained in each other. So parking is contained in VIP parking. That might be the only one actually. But anyway, so that meant that I classified them wrongly. So, having said that, let's grab these packages, just put them up next to the items for ease of reference, and we will tag the relevant packages. So I'm just going to add another column here. We'll call it package, and that's going across. So let's see, VIP ticket and VIP parking are both part of the VIP package. Foam finger and noisemaker are both here. They're part of the number 1 fan package. Fill me up package is unlimited hot dogs, unlimited beverages. And basic package is general admission ticket and parking. And then reserve ticket is not part of any package. Okay, so I'm going to call this package. Don't know, that'll do. And then I'm going to take this and put it back down where we were. Oh, I made a copy, so I don't need to move it. Okay, so for this one, I've been doing almost everything lately in single cell formulas. I think without making it extremely hairy, I cannot do this one in a single cell formula. So I'm going to break it out. So I'm going to say example. What are we on, level 3? I think. Yes, example 3. Look up this in here, returning from. Yeah. Oops. No, down another one, returning from here. And I'll get both parts. Huh? Now what? What are you complaining about? Oh, because there's a space. Okay, fine. So then this is our date, which we will date format if I can remember how to do that. And then this is our list of stuff. So what I want is to have my items and see how many times each of these occurs. Now, again, I have to be a little careful. How many times does this text occur in this text? I would normally do by using the sort of len substitute trick. In other words, how much shorter does this get if you substitute each one of these out of it? You have to be a little careful here because they're not prefix-free. Parking is contained in VIP parking. But what you can do is take the length of this with a semicolon at the end, or actually semicolons, yeah, semicolon at the end is fine. No, sorry. So semicolon space is the delimiter. So basically the idea is we'll add the delimiter at the start and at the end. So we'll say semicolon space and that semicolon space minus the length of what we get when we substitute in that for yeah, so when we substitute space and this thing and semicolon for blank. And then we need to divide by this length. So in other words, well, let me just put it in for a second. So this is saying here, for example, space VIP parking semicolon will occur whatever number of times it occurs. And every time you substitute that out, you make it shorter by the length of this. So here, for example, GA ticket, when you substitute out GA ticket with a space before and a semicolon after, you make the text shorter by 11. So then if you divide that by the length of the text, then you will get the number of times that GA ticket is in there. So divided by the length of that. What? Oh, sorry. So this is how many times each thing is in there. So now let me add my, what do I call it, package? Yes. No. PCKG. Yes. Just widen that out. So now what I want to figure out is how many times can I complete each one of these packages. And for that, I'm going to bring my packages down here. So the max number of them we can have is just going to be minifs of this, where this is this. So in other words, the let's say for the basic package, for example, you have 3 of one of the things you need, but only 1 of the other. So that whatever you have the smallest number of, that's the number of packages of that you can put together. So in this case, we can complete 1 VIP package, 1 number 1 fan package, 1 basic package, and no fill me up packages. So this is, I guess, total number. Then what I want is num x packages. And that's going to be this minus, just look up the package to get the package number in here. And because I've got one thing that is not in a package, I'll say if not found, 0. So then, in other words, my, whatever it is, my basic package covers my 1 general admission ticket and 1 of my 3 parkings, and then I've got 2 parkings left. So then my package cost is going to be sum of this cost times the number of packages, and then what I might call my loose cost, the cost of the items that are not part of packages, is going to be sum of this times cost. And then I get my total cost. That is 3, and that's not a good answer. Okay, because it's summed to the left instead of above for whatever reason. Okay. 232, does that match the answer? Not a bit. Oh, because I haven't done the discount. Okay. So discount. And that is going to be xlookup this date in ddate returning from discount. Discount. If not found, 0, and match mode, exact match, or next larger item. So final is going to be this times 1 minus this. 185.6. I think that's, no, that's also not what the answer was. Okay, so let's take a look. Basic price for all items is 238. I didn't calculate that, but I can to help verify. Basic cost, that's just going to be sum of this times cost, goes 253. Okay. Did I? Yes, I did the bloody parking, VIP parking wrong, even after saying that I had to be extra careful with that. All right, so let's see. How many parking have I really got? I've got 1 VIP parking, 1 parking, and 1 parking. Yeah, okay. And that's because I was looking for space parking semicolon, but that is of course contained in VIP space parking semicolon. All right, so I got to do a smarter way for this. I could try to make this even more convoluted, but I think at this point it's better to do it a different way. So let's do it a different way. We'll say text split of this by semicolon space. That gives me something split out, and then I can say countifs of this hash number of times that is that, and that gives me the correct note. Okay, so basic cost is now 238, final cost is 173.6, and that matches. So now I just need to repeat that calculation, basically vary this across all the different level numbers, which is 41 to 60. The handy dandy way to do that is with a data table. So I'm just going to say I want this cell as I change this input from example 3 to each one of these values down here. What does that become? I have to recalc, and then there's my answers. All right, so I'm not exactly covering myself in glory, but if I can step on the gas, then I might still get this done in half an hour. All right, so what is the total revenue generated from all purchases? Oh yeah, so this is the one where if you're selling 163 purchases in total, the idea is we're going to purchase number 1 is going to be this, purchase number 2 is going to be this, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way down to purchase 20 is going to be this, and then we'll start counting backwards. So purchase 21 is going to be this last one, 22, 23, 24, all the way up to purchase 40 is back to number 1, and we keep going up and down until we're full. I guess I'm just going to say full runs, and that's going to be this over 20. So we got, in this case, 7 full runs and then the leftovers. So cost, let's say full run rev, that's just going to be that number times the sum of all of these. So in other words, if I have 7 20s, then that goes down through 20, up to 20, down through, so I get 7 times the cost of all that stuff. And then call it leftover rev. And that is going to be sum of, so basically, well, first let's get my leftover number, I guess that'll be easier. That's going to be this minus 20 times this, and then the nuance is, so I've got 3 leftovers. The nuance is if I've just done, say, 20 or 60 or some number where I'm back down at the bottom. In other words, if I've done an odd number of 20s, then I'm going to be counting 3 up from the bottom. If I've done an even number of 20s before my leftovers, then I'm going to be counting 3 down from the top. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to say take from this array of 20 values, and then I'm going to say if is even, if my number of full runs is even, that means I've gone back up to the bottom, so I want to take the first 3 rows. Otherwise, I want to take the last 3, which will just be minus that. So it's either the leftover number or minus the leftover number is my argument for take, and then sum, and then we're good. And let's just put those together. And that is, yeah, that matches the answer, so then we're good. So I just need to copy this down. And just put here equals this plus this. All wrong. Oh dear, so sad. Most likely I did not lock something that I needed to, and it's yes, this. Oh dear, I'm making a lot of silly mistakes today, but never mind. Okay, so now we're all good. All right, so it's taken me more than half the time to do just the first levels without the bonuses, so I gotta accelerate. Okay, well this one's an easy one. How many points did you score by doing these tosses? It's just look up this in, actually I should name these. So we'll call it TRG, we'll call it PTS, target and points. So then I'm just going to say the sum of what I get when I look up each one of these in TRG returning from PTS. Nice and easy. Okay, so now players take turns tossing bags in each round. Each round consists of 4 tosses per player. you look at the player with the greater number of points, and they're awarded the net points. So let's do this one bit by bit. I will put it back into one formula at the end, but so first let's XLOOKUP all of these in TRG returning from PTS. Then you see it goes player 1, player 2, player 1, player 2, player 1, player 2. So what I want to do is wrap it so that all of player 1's scores are together and all of player 2's scores are together. That'll make it easier to do the rest. And the way you can do that is with WRAPROWS. So I'm just going to wrap this in rows of 2. And so then you can see here I've got 3, 0, 3, 0, 3, 0, 1, 3. So now it goes 3, 0, 3, 0, 3, 0, 1, 3. So all of player 1's scores for the first round are here. All of player 2's scores for the first round are here. So then I want to subtract one of these from the other. So what I'm going to do is multiply this by 1 for the first column and minus 1 for the second column. And then I want to sum up each of the rows. So in other words, here I'm going to have 3 minus 0, 3 minus 0, 3 minus 0, 1 minus 3, and so on. So then this is going to be by row sum. So then this is the net score for each pair. So in other words, player 1's first throw versus player 2's first throw. What we're interested in is the scores for each round. So we need to group these in groups of 4 to sum them. And it's basically going to be the parallel. So here we were interested in getting the sort of odd positions together and the even positions together. Here we're interested in getting the first 4 together, the next 4 together. We can do that with the friend of WRAPROWS, which is WRAPCOLS. So we're going to wrap columns, and we're going to wrap it into columns of size 4. So that, again, let's just look at this. Here we've got 3, 3, 3 minus 2, that's the first round, and then 0, 2, 3 minus 1, that's the second round. And now each round you can see is stacked in its own column. And then we just need to sum up the columns to get the net score for each round, and that's going to be a BICOL, again, friend of BIRO. Just sum up each one. By the way, you may not yet have the ability to just type in a function like this. This is still a beta feature, but hopefully coming soon. If you don't have that, then you can say lambda of CL for column sum col. So in other words, here it's saying, give me the function that takes a column and sums the column. But soon, if you can't already, you'll just be able to write sum, and it's much easier. So that gives you the net points. So player 1 wins the first round by 1, wins the second round by 4, and loses the last round by 3. And we're interested in just the absolute value of those and summing it up. So we're going to say absolute value of those, oops, all the way to the end. So that's 7, 4, and 5, and then we sum those up. And that gives us 16, which is the answer for this level. Okay, and that works out. Okay, so level 7. So for level 7, it's just similar to level 6, except that now we're going to use the positions on this board to do our scoring. So to do that, I'm going to delete these labels because those could get in the way, and then I'm just going to assign numbers here. So first, I'm just going to put everything around that hole as a 3, and then I'm going to do find and replace by format to color in all the rest. I'm going to. I know that there's a bonus question about the number of cells in the T. So I guess first I will just look at this one. So the color of that is more colors is this code. So I'm going to find format, fill, more colors, custom this. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to Alt-I to find all. Why is it searching so far out? Okay, never mind. Go away. Just search within this area, please. Control F, Alt-I. That's much faster. And then I can press Control A to select all the different cells it found. I'm going to type 1 into all of those, and I can see that there are some 116 of those. So I'm just going to go up here and put that in. And now I can find replace by format for this gray color to change that also to a 1. So let's just see more colors. It's this code. So sorry, I'll select the area again because it seems to have a large used range here. So we'll say format, more colors, custom color. That's format, and then I want to find all, select all, and turn them all into ones. And this is why I just did an area containing the 3, because now the bits around the edge of it have been turned into ones. Okay, so now I can just point at each of these cells on the cornhole board using indirect, and anything that's outside the range will automatically pick up 0, which is what it's supposed to. So what is the actual question here? Determine the total points scored based on the location of the 20 tosses. Tosses 7 and 12 are in the hole for 6 points. Okay, sorry, total points scored. So we're back to kind of the same as that one. Okay, so here I'm going to want indirect I'm going to rename this to just board because it's easier to refer to sheets that don't have a space in the name. Indirect board, exclamation mark, and all of this stuff. And I said I was going to explain this a couple of videos ago, the weird trick that I have for getting this, but I do want to get this finished in 30 minutes, so I'm not going to explain it today, but it's coming soon, I promise. But I'm going to say map single to that, and that is going to make it return. You could also just have 20 separate cells, but if you want indirect to return an array, then wrapping it in map single is one way to do that. There's also another way, which is to wrap it in cell and get contents. That is a trick that I picked up from Bo recently. That'll do the same thing. But anyway, so that gives us our string of values, and then we just need to, I think we just need to sum those up. So we have 2 3s and a bunch of 2s, and it sums to 22, and that matches. Okay, good. So then we just need to wrap this in sum and take it and put it over here. Okay, level 8. So this is, we got a game again. Determine the total number of net points scored in an entire cornhole game. Take turns tossing bags, alternating overall 200 tosses. Each round consists of 4 tosses per player. The game ends when, at the end of a round, one player has at least 21 net points. Okay, so first thing we need to do is the indirect again, board, exclamation mark, and all of this. We're going to have to wrap that in map single. Or in cell contents, either one is fine. And then again, we're taking alternating turns, so we're going to wrap that in WRAPROWS, so we get them in pairs. So these are all player 1's moves, these are all player 2's moves. Then we want to net those out on each turn, so we're going to multiply that by 1 for the first column, minus 1 for the second column. We're going to sum that by row. By row what? By row sum. Then we're going to wrap that exactly the same as before in columns of 4, and each one of those columns is a round, and I think it says that we play full rounds, but let's just double check that. Game ends when at the end of a round one player has at least 21 net points. Fine. So then we're going to bicol sum. Okay, so now I need to have each player's score. So the positive score is going to add to player 1, the negative scores are going to add to player 2. So now I need to let, I'll call this R&D scores for round scores. Now I need more space because this formula is going to get a little bigger. So I'll just expand this out. So we'll say P1 score is going to be scan if R&D score, wait, why is it not auto-completing? That usually means that I've missed a bracket or something. So let's see, name 1, yes, yes, calculation or name. Oh, sorry, yeah, I put this in the wrong place. Got to be name first, then variable, then definition of the name. So, okay, so now it should auto-complete, yes. I have learned that as I write more complicated formulas, being very aware of is it auto-completing a name from earlier in the thing is a good way to avoid having to debug. So anyway, if that's greater than, if that's less than 0, then 0. Otherwise, R&D scores. So that's giving me just the positives, and I want to, scan starting from 0. So this is going to give me a running total. And then I want the same thing for player 2. So player 2. and here we're going to say if it's greater than 0, 0, otherwise round score, otherwise I guess minus round score, sum, and then let's just do vstack R&D scores, P1 scores, and P2 scores, just so that I can see if it's behaving as I want it to. Oh, sorry, I put in 0 instead of minus. Okay, there we go. So player 1 gets a 7, player 1 gets a 1, so now they're on 8. It's a draw, player 1 gets a 1, player 2 gets a 2, and they go to 2. Okay, and so what I'm interested in is figuring out in which row this first becomes 21 or greater, which in this case is here, or sorry, in which column. So then I want the max of P1 and P2, so you can do that as if P1 score is greater than P2 score, then give me P1 score, otherwise P2 score, or what you can't do is max P1 score, P2 score, because then that's going to give you the biggest single value across both arrays, which is just the 26 from right at the end here. But what you can do, again, in dynamic array land, is to map these two with max, so that max will apply to each pair of them. So then you get that. Then we want to x match 21 against that, and we want exact match or next larger item, and that will tell us that the game ends in round 22. And so finally, what is the question? I won't get the bonuses done, but I'll at least get this done. So what is determine the total number of net points? Okay, so then what we want is this is rounds, and we want the sum of both players' scores across all the rounds. So we want sum of take, let's just vstack P1 score with P2 score, and we want to take the first RNDS columns of that and sum them up. And whoops, I came back over here, but that gives me 416. What? Okay, let's just drop the sum and give me the take for a second. Oh, sorry, yeah, it's not take, it's I want to choose calls. I just want the last round. Huh? Oh, sorry, yeah, not comma, just one. Okay, and then I want to, so those are the final scores, the scores at the end of the final round, and then I want to put those two together, and that's it. And that is the end of my 30 minutes. So I just made it through the 8 rounds, but I did not make it to the bonuses. Oh well. Anyway, let's wrap it up. What is the largest percentage discount offered by a package relative to buying the items individually? So here we just need sum of XLOOKUP of text split of this guy by semicolon space. We're going to XLOOKUP that in item returning from cost. That gives us what? Oh, sorry, they're not semicolon separated, they're comma separated. So that's the total cost, and then we want the package cost divided by that. It's going to be the percentage, and then we want 1 minus that as a percentage, and we're told to round to 2 decimal places, so that's equals round max of these to 2 decimal places. Okay, how many tickets are sold across all level 3 items excluding the example? Okay, so in this case I think I can just do a word search on ticket. So these are 3 different types of ticket, but it's all just counting the number of occurrences of the word ticket will do fine. But whoops, what did I just do there? Okay, so here we're going to say sum. We want the length, same how much shorter does it get trick as before. So we want the length of all these minus how much shorter does it get if we substitute from here ticket to blank, and then we want to divide that by, we can just wrap the sum and then divide that by the length of ticket, which is 6, I guess. And that's good, 77. Using the level 8 data excluding the example, which cell address occurs most often? So I guess let LSD, list of addresses, be to call. So we want to just unwrap them because that'll make them easier to work with. To call of this. And again, I'm going to be very modern, but trust me, you'll be glad because soon everybody will have this. So we're going to just group list by list and use rows to count the occurrences. No totals, no anything. Sort order -2. And that's going to spill everywhere, but let me just move it over here so you can see what's going on. It's still spilling over there. Let's go further. How wide is this flipping thing? There we go. All right, so you can see these are all the squares that occur there, sorted from most to least frequent. So in this case, I'm just interested in the first value of that. So I'll just get rid of the one over there, and we can just use @ to take the first piece of that. And finally, on level 8, excluding the example, how many perfect rounds are tossed? A perfect round is when all 4 of a player's tosses go in a hole. Only consider rounds that occur during gameplay, i.e. before one player reaches 20 points. Okay. So we can keep a lot of this, I think. We'll at least need to keep the bit that counts the number of rounds. But then let's see, what does R&D scores look like again? The R&D scores is already netted off, so that's not ideal. So bit, even the biro bit is not good, so we want to go back as far as the WRAPROWS. So let's put that, get rid of the times 0 - 1. Okay, so these are things then we're interested in. How many of these 4s are all 3s? But first we only want to take the ones that correspond to the first RNDS number of rounds. So we're going to take from here rows 4 times RNDS. So now, yeah, we've got 44 rows here because we had 22 rounds. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. So then I'm interested in grouping these by 4s. I think to do that I can just wrap in columns of 4. WRAPCOLS of this, comma 4. And again, let's just take a look at, oh no, it won't do that because I guess it doesn't want to do that until it's only doing 1 column of data. So we'll do 2 col first, and then WRAPCOLS in 4s. So 3303, 3311, let's just see, 3303, 3311, no, sorry, I might be doing the 2 col the wrong way. So I need 2 col to read down the columns. So I need to scan by column. Okay, so now I got 3031, 1313, and that is 3301, 131, 1310, 1310, yes, okay, fine. So then I need to bicol. Honestly, this has taken me so long that I would probably have been faster to do this in non-dynamic array way, but not every day you'll hear me admit that. So then we want that equals 12, and then minus minus to say how many times is that equal to 12, and then sum that up. Oops. And there we go. Hopefully that'll give the right answer. If it doesn't, well, this video has been long enough, so I'll probably just give up. I'm over time anyway. But it does, hooray. Okay, well, at least we finish on a good note. All right, that is all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. See you next time.